いよいよ開幕したストーブリーグ、日本人選手の動向に早くも注目が集まっています。今回は村上宗隆選手と今井達也選手が取り上げられた公式番組をご紹介。2人をどのように分析しているのでしょうか。現地放送を翻訳してお届けいたします。
There's going to be new talent in the big leagues in 2026, of course. The international waters are open, and we learned this week of Munetaka Murakami being posted by his former employer, the Yakult Swallows. Japanese league star with massive pop. Jesse, they call him the Japanese Babe Ruth. There's also a lot of swing and miss there. What do we expect from him as a player? Who do we expect to be interested as far as big league teams?
Well, look, I mean, you have both infield corner positions possible for this player, plus the DH. So there'll be plenty of suitors. I mean, from the Giants to the Mariners to possibly both New York teams. That's just a small list. There's going to be a good group. Look, there's a lot of fascinating things about this. One of them, and I think this is why he was posted when he was, to open up the window for the GM and the winter meetings, is peel back the onion on this. His agency is Casey Close and Excel. And now all great left-handed hitters this offseason go through Casey Close and Excel. They have Tucker, they have Schwarber, and they have Murakami. So it's going to be very interesting. He'll be, Casey Close, very popular at the GM meetings as well as the winter meetings for those three left-handers. And obviously there's a deadline with Murakami, and I think he's going to do very well. Yes, the swing and miss will be real, but also the home runs. AAA to the majors, you see swing and miss and home runs. Like, you know, we can portray what it's going to be. We can foreshadow what it's going to be. But those home runs from the left side are going to be very, very popular among a lot of teams.
I think the floor and the ceiling on this player is fascinating. The ceiling might be one of the lefties that Jesse just mentioned in Kyle Schwarber. He might strike out a lot and have a low average, but the power is real. He's only 25. He's going to get a long contract, which is both great and, again, dangerous. If this doesn't fully translate, you might be married to this guy for 6, 7, 8 years on a contract here, which I think is fascinating. There's a lot of swing and miss, even in Japan, where the velocity is not the same. Nobody I've talked to thinks he stands at third base in the major leagues. He's going to have to move across the diamond to first or be a DH. There's questions about left-on-left stuff. But in an age where people need power, we saw what power meant again in the postseason. I think teams went 30-5 if they out-homered their opponent in the postseason. He's just 25. He's going to get a lot of love in this marketplace.
Yeah, with his age, and Japan's hot. You know, it's a hot marketplace for MLB right now, and so that might get teams who might, you know, in years past been a little more shy about a major contract with someone with a 36% whiff rate in a contact-oriented NPB. You know, they might be more willing to take that risk, you know, for that power angle, like Joel says. But, you know, Shohei Ohtani came to MLB with swing and miss concerns, and he eliminated that leg kick after his first spring training, and we saw what he became. So, you know, I'm sure there'll be an adjustment for this player, you know, coming to the States. But, you know, I look at the Mariners as a really interesting team here. That's a team I've always kind of circled as maybe getting back to the forefront of the Japanese market, you know, going back to their Ichiro Suzuki days, and they have the needs on the corners. So, but yeah, it's kind of fun when a player of this ilk with this power profile is all of a sudden infiltrating MLB.
One Japanese player we haven't really talked about is righty Tatsuya Imai. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. A Boris client. I think he's going to do really well. If you look at the news yesterday, this past week, the qualifying offers, almost every top pitcher got one. So there's draft pick compensation in signing one of those guys that you have to give up. Imai comes with none of that. He's a right-handed pitcher with a fastball slider combo that's really good. 1.92 ERA last year over in Japan. 150, 60-plus innings over the last 3 years, which is a pretty good number in the Japan League. This guy's going to get a really good number, 140, 150, 160, maybe even more, in my opinion. I think his market's going to be robust, and you're going to hear his name a lot during the GM and winter meetings coming up.
During October, every time I talk to either an agent or an executive, one of the questions I ask is, which teams do you think are going to be very aggressive this offseason? No surprise, right? Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Phillies, Giants, Boston, I heard a lot. More than usual, the Braves, Tigers, Orioles, and Mariners will spend more than they usually do. But the one that comes up a lot is the Blue Jays. First of all, they've been willing to do a lot in the past. They tried hard for Ohtani and Soto. They might have been the runners-up in or close to it on both guys. They just went to the Game 7 of the World Series, which means they know they're close, and they also made a lot of money. And they have some obvious needs and desires. They're going to be very involved either in trying to keep Bo Bichette or find a replacement. They need help in both their rotation and the bullpen. And by the way, we talked about Kyle Tucker an awful lot here. You know whose style Kyle Tucker fits perfectly? Defense, put the ball in play, some power. He fits the Blue Jays perfectly. And so, therefore, I expect the Toronto Blue Jays to be very active in all markets.
Very provocative stuff, and we haven't even really scratched at the surface in baseball's offseason for 2025-26. Thanks to Joel, Anthony, and Jesse for running the inaugural board here on the Insiders. Special shout out to the Hallmark channel tonight. Thanks for that, Anthony. I'm Matt Vasgersian. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on MLB Tonight, the Insiders.
いかがでしたでしょうか。 FA 市場はまだ嵐の前の静けさ。これからどんどん白熱していくと思います。当チャンネルでは日本人選手情報を中心に現地最新情報をリアルタイムにお届けしていきます。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。さようなら。